Hello again, viewers, and greetings, fellow space travelers. This is Thorn of Night, and welcome to episode 40 of my bee breeding guide. In this episode, we are going to be examining some more magic bees, so it's off the Veiled branch we go. Past that, past the Arcane branch to the Aware branch. Now, the Aware branch is a very busy branch of bees. A very busy branch of bees. Alliteration again, yay! It adds 4 types of elemental bees as well as 2 other bees, so for a total of 6 for this branch, and they are the Earthen, Windy, Fiery, Watery, Ethereal, and finally the Aware Bee, after which the branch is named. And there is a lot of stuff going on with this branch. First off, they are added by magic bees to work with the Thumcraft stuff, and they do add a bunch of neat things to it. They have varying needs for their conditions and environments. They all like normal. Let me show you that real quick. All of them like normal, but as you can see, they have different tolerances, and to varying degrees, they have different lifespans and productivity levels as well. The elemental ones do need specific blocks under their enclosure, their housing, in order to be bred. So you're going to need to get yourself some bricks, the red clay bricks, just the normal vanilla ones, some leaves. You're going to need still water or still lava and still water for the 4 different element ones. They don't add any effects to the environment or to the players, so you don't have to worry about that. But the most wonderful and interesting aspect to them involves their output. The Ethereal Bee has 2 different comb for output, and all they do is give out varying amounts of honey drops and beeswax. The occult comb only gives out the drops, and the otherworldly comb gives out both of those. Next up, we have a very busy one, the Aware Bee. It gives off this memory comb. The memory comb will centrifuge to magic wax, intellect drops, and honeydew. The magic wax has lots of different uses, so I'm not going to have examples of them in here. You can figure out what those are on your own. But the enchanting drop, or the intellect drop, can be used to craft actual bottles of enchanting. So you can have drinkable experience, which is kind of nice. And also the honeydew will be used in creating the blank templates, ambrosia, and as part of one of the recipes for the glistering melon. So that's a pretty useful bee right there. Next up, we have the 4 elemental bees, and they give off earthy, windy, fiery, and watery comb, just like the names of the bees themselves. There's no honey drops here, but there is some more of that magic wax, and each of the bees have their own specialty output. The earthen one gives off clay, the windy one gives off feathers, the fiery one is blaze powder, and the watery one is ice blocks. So you can use this to sort of get your acclimatizer fueled, so you don't have to keep breaking ice with a silk touch device to get that. You can just use a bee to create ice. Kind of nice. But let's go take a look at the conditions and the experience of breeding these bees. Alright, now first off, before I do anything else, I would like to mention that I have this map available for download, so you can tinker around with all the different varieties of bees. I have everything accounted for, some in this Mistcraft age, some in others, but you can go around, do the experimenting, and get the experience of dealing with the bees yourself on your own, or if you would like, you could just continue to watch my episodes, which is also good. However, for those people who did download the initial map that I have, The Soulful branch book was missing, and actually that's the Soulful hub. Let me fix that also. Soulful hub. There we go. Now I feel better. But I do apologize for not having that book in there. Some of the other branches had some discrepancies, and I am going through and repairing them as I find them, so that when the second of the two maps are available, everything, as far as I know, will be fixed. But this map does use the Feed the Beast Unleashed mod pack, so you will need to get Feed the Beast, and you will need to grab the Unleashed mod pack in order for you to get this to work. But let's go ahead and examine the bees themselves. First off, you are going to need some higher tier bees from the Supernatural and Arcane branches, namely the Supernatural and Arcane bees. If you do not know how to make those, you can either watch my episodes for the Supernatural branch and the Arcane branch, or you can, if you have downloaded this map, just hop through the books and go visit them yourself and take a poke. Or you could do both, up to you. But they are higher level, like I said. The Supernatural and Arcane both are 7 levels away from being a hive bee. So you've had to do a pretty fair amount of breeding just to get this far already. Now, if you do wish to download this map, I do have some stock in here for you to mess with, so that's there. But let's take a look at the output here from the Ethereal Bee. I got an Ethereal Princess, and I need to take a look and see how many generations it took me to get it. Just the one. That's actually kind of awesome. Now, the breed that I got here is, of course, a hybrid, not quite close to a purebred, but it is possible to get purebreds, but you are going to probably need to keep rebreeding them to stabilize the line. I'll leave those in there for you to look at and work with if you wish, but let's take a look at the typical output here. First off, you are going to notice that you will get 2 drones and a chance at both the Otherworldly and the Occult Comb. So you can theoretically get some of each off of one queen. Excuse me, but the 2 different combs, I have the stacks of them respectively. The Otherworldly, I believe it was, is the one that, well, let me just make sure I have that right. I don't want to misspeak if I don't have to. Usage. Okay, yes. The Otherworldly comb over here will give you a stack of honey drops, but not nearly a stack, only about a quarter stack of the magic wax and about half a stack of the beeswax. While as the Occult Comb will give you a stack of the magic wax and only about half a stack of the honey drops. So you can get a fair amount of output one way or the other out of these bees. And since it is 2 drones, you can keep building the line further. But let's move on to the Aware Bee. The Aware Bee requires an Ethereal, which you just got there, and an Attuned Bee. Now, I don't have an example hive for the Attuned Bee, because I personally have only ever found one Attuned hive, and it was with a quarry, and I didn't actually find it myself. So I don't have an example of it to set down here for you to look at, but you will find it deep underground, usually encased or right next to some redstone ore. So it's going to be some digging before you can get them, but they are there. I can verify that. They're just hard to find. But you will need some of each of those, and I have some supply there for you to work with. And the Aware Bee, oh, I got... Oh, Attuned Aware. Attuned, okay. I will grab the Princess also, so I can identify how long it took me to get this. 9 generations. That's how long it took to get this Aware drone here. But let's take a look. Almost very close to a purebred. Well, until I got here, anyway. And the output's the same. Alright. And that memory comb that you saw does come from the attuned bee, not the ethereal bee. Now, let's take a look at what you can expect to get from some purebred aware bees. First off, once again, there are going to be 2 drones and some chances at that memory comb. However, I think I took the memory comb out that did arrive to put in the demonstration chest at the hub, and also to make a stack of it for here. So a stack of the memory comb will give you about half a stack of the honeydew, almost a stack, 3/4 to a half a stack of the magic wax, and about a quarter, generally less, of the intellect drop. But out of a stack, you can get a bottle of enchanting on average, so that's kind of nice. Moving on to the elemental ones. The first one here, the earthen bee, will require ethereal bees from over there, as well as supernatural bees, which are found at the supernatural hub. And in order to get the earthen bee to breed, you will need bricks under the housing. So do keep that in mind. And I've got some stock here for you to work with if you wish. But let's grab this earthen princess and take a look at how long it took me to get that. 5 generations, not too tough. Not quite a purebred, but I will leave these here for you to look at if you wish. And let's take a look at some of the output you're going to expect to get out of purebreds. First off, you will notice there's some earthen drone action here, 2 of them. And there's also some clay, because they do put out that clay, but in addition, they put out that earthy comb. It looks like you can expect to get about 3, maybe 4 of them out of one bee. But a batch of the elemental combs, and this goes for all of them, will only provide the magic wax itself. And it will give you a 1-for-1 ratio. You will get 1 wax for every comb, so that's kind of nice. Moving on to the windy bee. The windy bee does require a leaf block under the enclosure to make. And just like all the other elemental ones, it does require ethereal and supernatural. So it's the block that's under it that determines what species you get out of the breeding experience. So here's some more of that stock for you to work with. And that's supernatural, ethereal, that's the windy. So I will grab this supernatural to identify how long this took. 1 generation, okay. And let's just see how far off from a... Ooh, pretty far off from purebred. Alright. I'll put these in here so you can look at them later if you wish. And let's look at the typical output. Once again, 2 drones. Some of that windy comb there. And no feathers in this one. That's kind of sad. But once again, a stack of magic wax from a stack of the windy comb. Alright, next is the fiery bee. In order to breed this, you need to have a block of still lava. It looks like it's flowing from the side, but that's just a side animation. It is, in fact, a still block of lava. You'll need to have it directly under, like the block right under the hive, or the apiary, rather. So I don't recommend doing this in a wooden house. Just a cautionary thing there. But I have some more of those bees for you to work with. Oh, I have a crossbred that I was hoping to get an output. But let's look at the output from the generations. 5 generations, not necessarily instant gratification. You could theoretically get it on the first try. If so, I tip my hat to you. But let's see here. No, not quite a purebred. But that shouldn't take too long to weed out once you get a few of them going. I will leave these here for you to look at as well, and let's take a look at the output. First off, before I do that though, and I didn't have room for this on the first page of that book, so I just let it be. The fiery bee does require having cacti near it as their flower. Everything else in this branch is fine with just flowers. However, the cacti do require, the fiery do require cacti for being able to make their production. And just like the other ones, you will get 2 drones out of a purebred queen and a chance at that fiery comb. And there's some blaze powder for you. Oh, there's the fiery comb. And once again, a stack of that will give you 64 of the magic wax. And finally, we have the Watery Bee, which, once again, ethereal and supernatural. There's some more stock for you. It requires having a still block of water underneath it. Not as dangerous as the fire, but when you're digging around it, do remember there's water there. Let's see here. I'll need to grab the princess to see how long this took me. Like I said, it isn't necessarily going to take you the same amount of tries. That just took 1. But let's look at the differences here. That's a lot closer to a purebred, but still not 1. So I will put these in here for you to look at, if you so choose. And lastly, let's look at the watery output from some purebred queens. Once again, and finally, 2 drones are what you can expect out of this, so you can increase the population pretty quickly. There is that watery comb there, and no ice blocks this time, but that's alright. And once again, a stack of the watery comb will give you a stack of magic wax. Now that's it for the bees. However, a lot of these bees, or a lot of the aware and ethereal bees, are going to be used in making several other branches of bees. The skulking, time, soulful, extrinsic, and thaumic bees require you having done this line, at least the ethereal and the aware, not necessarily the elemental ones, for all of them except the thaumic do require those. But this is a somewhat pivotal line in the magic line of bees, and so you will need to take care of it eventually. But as far as I know, that is pretty much really all there is to say about these bees. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this was helpful and useful and informative for you. I am enjoying doing these tutorials for you guys. It helps me learn the stuff myself, and I like to pass on what I know. But if you do have any questions or comments or suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below or in my inbox or whatever. I will do my best to respond as quickly and thoroughly as possible with what I know to answer. But if you do like this video and you like what I'm doing here, please feel free to give me a like. I appreciate that a lot. And also, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe so you know when my next stuff comes out. And also, if you have any ideas for other guides or tutorials you'd like to see me try to tackle, please also let me know in the comments. I will see if I can do them. But that is going to have to be it for this episode. So thank you once again for watching. This is Thorn of Night, and I will talk to you later.